What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Restoration Rundown Podcast, the podcast that's brought to you and made for you for all the restoration contractors out there. My name is Ben Riccardi with Ironclad Restoration Marketing, and I'm your host today. If you've been following along, you've been listening to me talk here on this podcast or watching my YouTube videos from Ironclad Restoration Marketing, or you read my book, The No BS Guide to Internet Marketing for Restoration Contractors, I am rooted in the belief that education should be at the forefront of everybody's business plan, whether that's educating yourself on marketing, on operations, on billing. Everything that has to do with learning about your business and how it runs is fundamental, and a lot of people miss out on it. They put their head in the sand. They don't really take the time to invest in education, in their teams, or anything like that. So I wanted to bring on a special guest today. He's been on before. Great guy with an even better organization. I feel comfortable saying that. They are launching something that I think is one of the most groundbreaking things in the industry right now, in the restoration industry. So if you're a restoration contractor struggling in any aspect of your business, you're going to want to tune into this episode. You're going to want to save and bookmark this episode and come back to it to get the info. So in the purposes of education today, I want you to help me welcome in Mr. Jason Gilstrap, the Executive Director of Contractor Operations from Core Group, who's going to talk about something really cool they got going on. But first, Jason, how you doing, man?
Good, sir. How are you today?
Doing well. It's another beautiful day down here in South Florida, and even better when I get to talk to anybody from the Core Group.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. No, it's our pleasure. So before we get into everything, all this exciting news that we've got here, why don't you give the audience a little bit about your background? I know you were on about a month or so ago, but just to refresh everybody on who you are, how long you've been in the industry, and kind of how you fit in with Core.
Yeah. So Jason Gilstrap, Executive Director of Contractor Operations here at Core. Been in the industry, been in the construction industry 25, 26 years now. I don't like saying that out loud. It makes me feel old. So, but yeah, time has really flown by. Started out like a lot of people, really just pushing a broom and carrying lumber. Was really on the GC side of the equation, and really worked myself up. I was lucky enough to be, with a really good mentor and a good contractor early, and so I learned some helpful trades and skills from him. Not only just the skills to learn how to build stuff, but actually just how to manage people and manage expectations and work with people and be a decent person as well. And that really provided a good foundation for the rest of my career. He kind of semi-retired, and then, I went a different direction and eventually started my own business. Did that in the mid-2000s all the way up to about 2012, where I was asked to go respond to Hurricane Sandy for a company I'd done some work for in the past. That was the start of kind of my restoration career, because I kind of came into it backwards. So I started deploying to a cat was first off. And you gotta remember, 2012, smartphones were only around for about 3 years at that time. So, no one really understood how to, go to these different locations. So you really had to learn on the fly. Yeah. That kind of developed into national cat teams, being a part of that, responding to large losses all over the country. And then I was offered a position in Florida that meant I could be home every night and still make the same amount of income. And I had a young son, so I took advantage of it. Ran just a local office in restoration for about 5 years. Then I got into, and I built their commercial division. And then we left that company in 2021, and I started with Core in July of 2022. So a little over a year now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And, I can't say enough about Core and what they've got going on, but for anybody out there that's not familiar with Core, who you are, what they're all about, why don't you give us a little brief background on Core and what you guys are actually doing and what it is?
Yeah, so Core is North America's fastest growing member network of restoration contractors. And what we noticed was missing in the industry was the ability for the independent restorer, the mom and pop locations located all throughout this country, to really compete with the national franchises, like with buying power and resources and whatever. They just couldn't do it. And so they were being, basically eat up or accumulated, acquired, however you want to, however you want to do it. And so we wanted to create Core to really group all of those independent restorers together that wanted to stay in business, wanted to keep their traditional family values, their organizational structure intact, but yet still have those resources and buying power of a national franchise. And so that was the real reason behind creating Core.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we talked, we have episode live, had you on from the collective event. It was awesome. One thing I took away from Core is that, where we match, right? Where Ironclad Restoration Marketing, I'm all about educating my clientele that we're trying to go after, because an educated client or an educated business owner is a very powerful business owner, right? You get to avoid mistakes, you get to avoid missteps. Which is why I brought you on today, because you guys have some exciting news that I'm hoping you can share. I know we're not going to be the first people to hear about it here on the podcast, but there may be a couple people out there that don't know what's going on. So maybe this can be the exclusive drop. Why don't you walk us through what you guys are doing to kind of spearhead that culture in this industry when it comes to education?
Sure. So we had the concept of an educational platform last year, and it even goes further back to my starting at Core. I was really brought on board to be a contractor's point of view for Core, right? To be able to answer those questions. How would a contractor respond to this type scenario? What would a contractor need here? And be that resource and that go-between. But to not only that, but to explore and create additional resources to make our contractor stronger. And one of the best resources is education. You can never go wrong with applying more education, no matter what it is. And so we had this idea of an educational platform. And in the beginning, it was really very infant. And it was, hey, let's provide your acronyms, your industry certifications, all those 3-letter acronyms behind everyone's email signature. But then we thought about it, and it's like, that's just too easy. And, nothing worthwhile is ever easy. Yeah. And that's not really what Core does. We don't challenge. It's not a challenge if we do the easy stuff. So we wanted to really think and expand and say, okay, what do people really need? And look, certifications are a major part of our industry. It's never going to go anywhere. But we have amazing relationships with those providers already. So why would we compete with those people? Sure. Instead, why don't we highlight our amazing relationships with all these providers under one umbrella, make it easy for the end user to find, locate, source, the material that they need under one housing, and then expand on that. Let's go beyond the certifications. Let's go into sales and marketing, like the stuff that you've provided. Let's go into leadership training, like our good friends at Floodlight. Yeah. Let's go into, mid-level management with Rod at Trifecta. He's done some great stuff for us. Let's really, even beyond that, to financial literacy. Let's teach these $2 to $3 million guys that were just like me. They're great at swinging a hammer, but don't understand a balance sheet or an income statement or asset management, those things. Yeah. So let's really give these guys a pathway and one place to go in and source and find all this information under one headline. And that's really what Core University came out to be.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you guys are aggregating all the industry experts in all of these different areas. I mean, one of the things that I really, like and what resonates with me is you guys are eliminating this barrier of competition and creating a culture of education and collectiveness, right, with everybody. Because there, I'm somebody that's a big proponent of this. I don't look at any other marketing agency as competition. I look at them as my peers, and I'm hoping to learn as much as I possibly can from them, whether good or bad, right? The right way to do it, the wrong way to do it. And there's a lot you can learn from everybody. And I think just peeking behind the scenes a little bit about who you're bringing together, I think you guys are accomplishing that, and it can't be overstated. So how big of an issue, and I'm guessing this is going to go back to the genesis of Core U, but how big of an issue are you seeing being a restorer of this gap in knowledge and intellect? And what do you think it attributes to failures of businesses, if you had to throw a percentage at it?
Well, I think, one of the bigger things we're seeing is the labor shortage. Yes. Right? And so that's one of the biggest things that everyone out there is dealing with. It doesn't matter where you're at geographically, it's an issue. And a lot of that has been generations of being told you have to go to college to be successful. Yeah. And, I didn't go to college, and I consider myself fairly successful. And I would like, college isn't for everyone. Yeah. So I part of me, and this is kind of a little passion project for me, is to provide that hope and that inspiration to guys that know that college isn't suited for them, and they may not do well, so they don't go. But to give them an opportunity to advance themselves, quicker, faster than I did, just because of an educational resource available to them. If you want it, go after it. It's going to be there for you. And that's really where I get my passion for the platform from, is I want to see more people rise up and be better than they think they can be, just because they may not have the best economic background or the most advanced education available to them. I want to give them that opportunity to really rise and grow.
Yeah, so it sounds like, and this is something that's news to me. So you guys not only are going to be providing this educational platform for business owners, people part of the core programs, but this is something for this new generation or these people that are learning that are wanting to learn a skilled trade. Which is I'm just learning that now, and I think that's incredible, and that even resonates more with me. I come from a contracting background in site development, and the old school way. You get an old grizzled foreman, they're going to kick you around a little bit for a few years. You learn your way up, but the reality is this new generations and the last couple generations are a little bit different than you and I came up. There's not that access, right? There's no education on what these industries are. And quite frankly, speaking restoration industry, a restoration industry kind of has a bad name for itself or had one. So Core University is going to be catering to those people that are looking to learn a trade or break into it as well.
Well, that's one part of it. There's this thing has expanded so much and taken on, so many different platforms and roles. But we kind of designed it. We realized we had the opportunity to build a site that was not only just an educational platform, but a place for solutions to our everyday problems, whether it be the recruiting aspect, the retention aspect, the employee development side, the personal development side. Employee development is a huge issue right now. So if you're going to get a labor shortage and you're going to deal with someone that's never even understood what restoration is, you have to develop that employee and provide them not only the job training, but the developmental side as well. Sure. And a lot of restorers out there, they have the best of intentions. They're great people and they're great contractors, but they don't know the first thing about creating a training path or a learning path for true employee development. So we want to build that into the system to where it's a hands-free approach for these, small or mid-level guys that just either have their hair on fire every day and can't do it, or just simply don't know how and don't know who to ask for help. So we want to be that one-stop shop resource, not only for the kid that may want to learn a trade, but also that business owner that understands that he needs to develop his employees, but just doesn't know how.
Yeah, and so that's awesome, and it's really cool and I guess this is going to continue to grow. It sounds like there's a lot of needs outside of what you guys initially identified, and I guess as this evolves and turns into the where you want it to be, and I know we've talked before about this being a big passion project for you. Well, that's how we know things are going to be successful, because you guys actually care about the result. It's not about you're not putting something together to make millions of dollars off people. You're putting something together to help the industry, which is what it seems like everything that you guys have been about has been, and why I like having you guys on and learning from you as much as I can. So in your opinion, how important is a company, is this education for a company to do? I know we've mentioned a little bit and we know it's important, but as business owners out there that this isn't on their radar, they're dealing with whatever their labor shortages is or the lack of knowledge in the industry. How important is it for people to educate themselves in all these avenues that might exceed or help accelerate their success as a business?
Well, there's a couple ways to look at it, right? So if you're looking at it as a business owner and you want to address the labor shortage, first of all, you got to understand the problem we're facing. There's certain data that suggests that we need an additional 500,000 bodies in construction right now just to fill current need. Wow. And that grows by about 20% year over year. Pair that with the fact that 41% of the construction workforce is going to retire in the next 10 years. So you have a massive collision coming towards us. We're barely seeing it now. So if we don't start to create this platform for that business owner to really develop his employees, right, that's going to solve one of his problems. But the other problem is, how does that business owner not only develop his employees, but how does he then grow his business? Yeah. And so that's the advanced training that we want to provide. And that's their, the financial literacy, understanding, where you're at currently financially, where you should be financially, how to advance in the future financially. Just that's the stuff that's not available anywhere. Yeah. That training. Yeah. And we're in an industry now where there's a lot of, and I don't mean this ill will, but I'll just say talking heads that say, follow me and I'll teach you the path to grow your business. Yep. Well, when you listen to that, you never really hear that blueprint. Yeah. You hear a lot of industry jargon and theory, but you never have a blueprint or a proven path to follow. We want to help provide that. We really want to give people a path to success, whether you're an entry-level employee wanting to grow in an industry or whether you're an established business that wants to go to the next level. Either way, you're going to find those resources on Core University. Okay.
You mentioned before certifications. Can you talk a little bit more about how Core University is going to address that?
Yeah. So for our CRC, we actually partnered with REITs. Those guys are phenomenal. We have a great relationship with them anyway. So they will actually be providing the IRCRC courses on Core University. And then we're working with norming for mold licensing in, I think there's 6 states that require it, but they do some other stuff too for IA. And then we partnered with some actually carrier facing solutions as well. So adjusters will actually be able to get their CE credits and their license through Core University. And then we have numerous OSHA courses for safety. We have some specific courses through Firehouse with Kevin and Anissa. Those guys are fantastic. She's actually eager to help us with some of the one-on-one stuff for financial literacy, which I thought was really awesome. I really appreciate those guys. And then let's see, who else are we working with? We have some providers on there for specialized training like ICRA, infectious care risk assessment, those type of scenarios for healthcare, and for lead-based environmental and asbestos training as well.
Are you guys going to be offering any of your own certifications for, down the road? Is that something that's coming? Because I know there's a lot of people out there with their email signatures and LinkedIn's and just gathering the temperature of the industry a little bit. I think some of that stuff is kind of getting watered down a little bit. No pun intended.
Well, I will tell you what, we're not really focused on, the certification being a core certification. What we're more focused on, and this is one of those solutions that we want to offer, is there's such a huge disconnect between certification and competency.
Okay.
Just because you could have a million acronyms behind your name doesn't mean you know how to do the job.
Right.
It means you know how to take a 3-day course and pass an exam. So we are actually creating badging mechanisms within Core University. So, for example, you wanted to be core environmentalist. Well, you're going to have to attend courses A through E, and pass those courses with a certain level. And then you're actually going to have to propose, much like when you apply for a mold license, you have to provide proof of work, or at least a statement of work.
Sure.
You will have to not only attend those courses, but you will also have to provide a statement of work saying you've worked in that field for X number of time or X number of jobs. We haven't established it fully yet. But really, so that when you see a person on their email signature or their resume, core environmentalist, not only have they taken the courses, they have the field experience to back up their competency.
Yeah, that's important.
And what that does is that gives your hiring managers, your GMs, your ops guys, it gives them confidence when they read that resume that this person is competent in their field and understands what they're doing, and this is going to be a good hire.
Yeah, that's really cool, and it's something I like to see too. Because in the industry that I'm on with my construction company, it's a little different, but they're dealing with the same kind of issues right now with certain things. So competency I like that. It's a competency versus the thing. I've seen marketers that have water restoration technician, and I'm like, dude, this guy's never, like, their hands are softer than my infant's hands. That definitely makes sense, and it kind of helps. I think overall the effect of all of this is going to make the industry be looked at in a better light. All right, you're actually taking the time to do stuff when you're dealing with, and we just made a video today or an episode of the podcast about finding out who it is that you're targeting as far as a client goes. The more we can educate the industry, the more we can educate the population and the public for what you guys are doing, the easier of a job it's going to be. And it's why we do what we do, right? We educate. I give all the information away. Here's how you get your leads online. Here's how to do pay-per-click, because we know it's a full-time job, but we also understand that there's a lot of misinformation out there when it comes to this work, right? And it's not as cut and dry and straightforward as it always can be. So I really applaud what you guys are doing. I think that, I can't wait for this thing to get launched. So speaking of launch, when are we launching?
So it's officially launched now. You can go and register and attend some of the courses now. I think we have 200 plus actually active on the site now. With about 600 in backlog.
Wow.
For us to actually get loaded onto the site. By, I think, early spring, maybe even first part of the year, we may be over 1,000 courses.
Wow.
For you to be able to go in and search and pick from. And the best part of it is a lot of it is free.
Okay.
Of course, you have your a la carte purchases for your WRT, your commercial drying, those things. But there's tons of free content on there. There's really no excuse not to go and assign those free courses to your employees so they could really get some background information. And, you could take a new hire with very little, actually zero experience in our industry, and you could assign them free courses through CoreU, and they're going to walk away in 2 weeks with at least a basic understanding of our industry. So there's really no reason not to take advantage of it.
And I've shared, if you're listening to this on any of the streaming sites, go to YouTube, go to Ironclad Restoration Marketing's website or their YouTube or my YouTube, I guess. And you can see the URL for it is coreuniversityonline.com. It's very straightforward. Jason, one thing that just popped in my head when you were talking about the, getting a new hire and just saying, hey, here you go. Are you guys planning on putting together any kind of framework for, for giving somebody a pathway to actually maybe direct them in a direction of, hey, here's the courses that you need to take for X and here's what you need to do for Y. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something I'm actually really excited about. Again, it kind of goes back to where I started. I started, had no direction, but I was super lucky to get paired with an amazing contractor and an amazing person that actually helped and steered me in those directions. But we know those people don't exist everywhere, and it's a scalable issue. So what we want to do is actually create these roadmaps for new hires. So it's a visual, almost like a tree, for example, as they're starting at the bottom, and they can understand now, if I want to be a project manager in restoration, I need to attend these courses. I need to have this much time in, and then I can apply and be qualified as a project manager, as an entry-level project manager. But not everyone wants to be in project management. Say they want to scale up, be an estimator. There's the path for estimator. If you want to be in sales and marketing, here's your path for that. If you want to go into human resources, here's a path. If you want to go to AR and AP or accounting, here's a path for that level. If you want to go into mid-level management, here's a path for that. So not only will it be a path of courses they need to attend, but it also, it has to be visual for people to really follow it. But I want to be able to not only show the courses, but show the timeline and to show their estimated earning potential. And I think that's important because you have a new hire that's on a water truck. He's making $16, $17 an hour, right? And unless someone tells him, hey, man, if you put your time in, you could be a PM and start at $60K. He has no clue that's even an option. So now he can look at it and say, man, all I need to do is these courses and put my time in and I can be there. For a lot of these guys, that's a generational change. It absolutely is, or at least there's potential for generational change. I can tell you, for example, I know that very same person was a roofing technician, and then he worked with me on a hurricane. I brought him on board, very proud of him. Now he runs an office.
Wow.
So, that's just another example of what's available out there, and we want to make it easier for those people to find those paths.
Yeah, it can't be overstated. What you guys are doing is incredible. And I know you guys have a Core University intro webinar coming up on October 11th. I've registered for it, even though we've talked ad nauseum about it, but I'm definitely interested to hear what you and Andy and Dana have to say about it. How do people sign up for that webinar if they want to learn a little bit more?
They just need to register the link that's in their email inbox, and it'll also be going out via social media. They can register through that as well. And then, I encourage everyone to attend. It's really hard to condense the information that's available on Core University into a format for everyone to easily digest, because it really does offer so many unique solutions to what we are facing in our industry. It's really turned out to be something incredible.
So also another way, probably if you guys are interested in attending the webinar, sign up to the core group's mailing email list, because that's what I did. And I got the invite link to go to the website or go to the webinar. You just go to gowithcore.com and you can sign up for their email list there, or reach out to Jason or reach out to anybody on LinkedIn if you want to attend the webinar. I think that if we haven't convinced you enough, or Jason hasn't convinced you enough how powerful this Core University is going to be, the webinar is probably going to put to bed any other questions you may have. Jason, unless you got anything else for it, man, I'm super excited. I know that you got a really good looking dude on here doing some marketing stuff on Core University. I just realized. So hopefully we can help you out a little bit more in the future.
Yeah.
If there isn't anybody listening that is struggling with anything in particular when it comes to marketing, let me know. I'll make a video and I'll share it with the Core University people, and it'll be up on their website. And that'll be, you can maybe hold that in your pocket that you got that course put on the website. Maybe.
There you go. Well, it's interesting you brought that up. So we are actually we're going to put feelers out there and encourage, independent restorers or anyone out there that has access to actually send us, their ideas for courses that they may want to see, and actually have the potential even to author that course themselves.
Wow, that's awesome.
We don't know where the next, great trainer is.
Right.
We don't know that person. They could be out there, writing an estimate right now. We're going to give them that audience to potentially be that next trainer, be that next name in the industry, and really hope it drives more engagement and just more overall participation with the site, and just trying to really make the industry better as a whole, because it takes all of us.
It does. And, I appreciate what you guys are doing. And I also appreciate all the time that you've been putting into coming on and sharing what you guys have going on with us and our audience. Hopefully we can help get you guys out there a little bit more and help more people out, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm all about. My digital marketing agency, we just want to help you. We want to partner with you. We don't want to be looked at as a vendor. We want to be looked at as a source of data, and somebody that can partner with to be able to get you to where you need to get with your business. And I think that's what Core Group and Core University is doing, why I love having you guys on and chatting with you guys and going to your events. So Jason, I thank you so much for your time. Everybody listening, I've shared the URLs, Core University online and gowithcore.com if you want to register for the webinar coming up. I think it's October 11th, I believe, 10:30 a.m. Central Time. I want to say, I might be completely wrong about those times, but just go and check it out yourself. And you can check them out. If you have any questions at all, you can feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to Jason or any of the great people over at Core. Jason, again, thank you for your time, man. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and kudos to you guys for what you're doing.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. You got it. All right, everybody. Until next time, we'll see you then.